And he trusts and he believes in the future of Rwanda. That's why he wanted me to promote more business, more ties between two countries, economically.
Excellency, thank you very much indeed for giving us the time. And could we start by expressing our deepest condolences to what's happened in Japan? That just generally, what is happening now in Japan, and how are people adjusting to the shock?
First of all, thank you very much for your expression of condolences. It's really an incredible and shocking event for all of Japanese. But I think in response to your question, what is happening in Japan, I think Japanese people are becoming more united than before. You know that there is a saying in Japan, Kankon Sosai. This word represents 4 biggest events in life. Kan means award of order. Kon means marriage. Sai means festival, festivity. But So means mourning. And we are valuing a lot mourning, because marriage, festivity, and award, this is something to congratulate, but the persons are alive. But the mourning is for somebody who passed away. So except for mourning, it's easier for people to join the events. You see, tens of thousands of Japanese are mourning the passing away of Abe. We are realizing again what he has achieved. And we are realizing again what he has done is valuable for our people. So in that sense, I think people are more united and realizing again the values of policies or policies he has been consistently promoting, not only to Japan but also to the rest of the world.
We're going to look at his thinking at the time, because he was an independent, often radical thinker. And we're also going to look at really what he meant to Japan as a figure. I mean, everybody, anyone who keeps abreast of world events, world affairs, will know of Mr. Shinzo Abe, because he was quite a world statesman. But we will try to understand what it means for domestically for Japan. And you had elections in Japan on Sunday, parliamentary elections, I believe. And it seems that the population, he was campaigning for in those elections when he was attacked. And it seems that the population decided to give his party, the Liberal Democratic Party, a landslide. So already, I mean, should one read a great deal in that? Is Japan changing politically as a result of this?
The victory of LDP in the last elections for the upper house, you may call it a landslide victory, but I think I don't want to comment politically, but the result changed so much.
So it's a result that would have happened anyway.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, let's have a look at the Mr. Abe as a political figure in Japan. As you say, he was a radical thinker, and sometimes in Japan a bit controversial because, for instance, his main push was to have a look again at the Japanese constitution, which was imposed in Japan after the Second World War by the Americans. And his idea was that, look, time has come now to look at the constitution and look at it from a Japanese perspective. And he wasn't always in tune with everybody in Japan, was he, on that one?
First of all, the revision or the review, the necessity of review on the constitution is not necessarily his idea. It is written in the, how can I say, the policies of LDP. But it has been left for a long time aside. And he just, tried to activate these issues again. But, the reason why we are missing Mr. Abe so much is for another reasons, because of his economic policies,
Right.
his diplomacies,
Yeah.
and he raised the value of Japan itself to the world stage.
Yeah. How did he manage to do both things, which is stay in tune with his society, with his culture, with his tradition, but at the same time have the radicalism that he did?
I've been working in private sector for over 40 years. I have just met him personally just twice.
Yeah.
The last time was before my departure from Tokyo to come here.
Yeah.
He gave me instructions on the missions of ambassador to Rwanda. It was the last time, so
That'll be interesting. We can hear a little bit about that later.
he emphasized on the necessity of intensifying business tie between two countries. The economic diplomacy is one of his credo. So I'm still, respecting this instruction from him. But my intuition is that he's a very eloquent person. He's very good at speaking, and he has a power of convincing, people. So that's why his drastic economic and political policies could be put in place among all that conservative and traditional atmosphere.
What is very interesting is the affection almost for him around the world, even from people whose political philosophies, whose political ideologies were completely opposed to his. It's a message from Barack Obama, for instance, and Barack Obama comes from different aspect of the political spectrum from him. But somehow, even those who disagreed with him politically, there was a close relationship. And in a way, which goes into your description of him as being able to convince others. In Japan, as I say, his radical ideas will have come as a bit of a shock for a society that is clear about its lines of where the country needs to go, or where the politics needs to go. So now people, as you said, looking back at what he meant for Japan. What is the general feeling? What is the general opinion on what people are saying now and people are feeling now?
I don't know. I don't know exactly because I'm in Kigali. I don't have much chances to talk with people in Tokyo. But I think most of people, Japanese people, are, as I said at the beginning, realizing again that what Mr. Abe wanted to execute was correct, and that we need to continue his line of policies.
It is, if we look at the incident in itself, and two reasons why it's so, obviously the tragic nature of it, the senseless nature of it, but also the unusual nature of it for Japan. There was some political violence a long time ago in Japan, but for most people's lifetimes, this is something unheard of. The gun laws in Japan are particularly strict, and this individual actually used a homemade gun. That is significant in itself. So, in a way, he was quite relaxed, as politicians are. Politicians are accessible especially during campaigning. So how much is this going to change the way things are done in Japan, if at all? Or will people say, well, look, this is a one-off tragedy, let's not let it change our way of doing things?
For this particular accident, I think there was some deficiency in the security protection measures surrounding him. But in my personal opinion, we are yet to know whether we have to generalize the danger or this might be the specific case. We don't know yet. But what I can say is that more or less security measures could be intensified, reinforced, especially for statesmen or dignitaries. But because traditionally we have been very innocent and naive,
loss of innocence,
less conscious about the security. Yes.
There's a similarity between what happened in Japan and what happened in Sweden a number of years ago with Prime Minister Olof Palme. It's, again, a major statesman, not only domestically but also on the world stage. That also happened because Sweden it was a peaceful country. They were not used to this kind of political violence, and the security not lax but actually light for major political figures, because politicians moved around within the community and so on. The Swedes too lost their innocence with the murder of Mr. Palme, and I'm just wondering, as I say again, whether or not the Japanese too may lose their innocence as a result of this and things change.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I frankly don't know what will happen.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, as we said, he was a world statesman as well as domestically. And the various world figures are mourning his untimely death. What do you think? What do you imagine, other than offering their support, what do you imagine that would be important to the Japanese generally from the rest of their friends around the world at this stage?
I think there are two things, two things Japan should appeal or should advocate. Firstly, despite the loss of Mr. Abe, basically Japan will not change domestically, but internationally as well, in terms of policies being deployed inside Japan and toward the world. And secondly, our partners in the world are kindly requested to understand that Japan remained the same.
All right, legacy. So, unfortunately, we'd have to talk about his legacy sooner than we would have liked to, because his life is cut short in mid-career. There is Abenomics, of course, so there's a political change. But overall, politically, and as you say, on the world stage, what, from Japanese point of view, is or will be his legacy?
From Japanese point of view, his legacy is to elevate, as I said again, elevate the position of Japan on the world scale, I think, economically and diplomatically. And I take liberty to add that free and open Indo-Pacific concept. It was initiated by Abe, and which is now shared by many countries, partner countries. So that's what I can say.
So let's end on his instructions to you as you're coming to Rwanda. Tell us a little bit more and his perception of what the Rwanda-Japan relations ought to be and where they were.
I think he's a man who trusts in person, you know. So Mr. Abe and His Excellency President Paul Kagame have met 3 times, and I think they are friends already.
In tune.
So Abe trusts His Excellency Paul Kagame, and he trusts and he believes in the future of Rwanda. That's why he wanted me to promote more business, more ties between 2 countries, economically.
Your Excellency, our deepest condolences again, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.